She had taken her time. She liked the rhythm of her regular chores, the high space under the barn roof, the smells. Now she went over to the exercise ring to see how dry the ground was, in case the 5 o'clock pupil did show up. Most of the steady showers had not been particularly heavy or borne on any wind, but last week there had come a sudden stirring, and then a blast through the treetops and a nearly horizontal blinding rain. In a quarter of an hour, the storm had passed over, but branches lay across the road, hydro lines were down, and a large chunk of the plastic roofing over the ring had been torn loose. There was a puddle like a lake at that end of the track, and Clark had worked until after dark, digging a channel to drain it away. The roof had not yet been repaired. Clark had strung fence wire across to keep the horses from getting into the mud, and Carla had marked out a shorter track. On the web right now, Clark was hunting for some place to buy roofing. Some salvage outlet with prices that they could afford, or somebody trying to get rid of such materials second-hand. He would not go to High and Robert Buckley's building supply in town, which he called Highway Robbers' Buggery Supply, because he owed them too much money and had had a fight with them. Clark had fights not just with the people he owed money to. His friendliness, compelling at first, could suddenly turn sour. There were places he would not go into, where he always made Carla go because of some row. The drugstore was one such place. An old woman had pushed in front of him. That is, she had gone to get something she'd forgotten and come back and pushed in front rather than going to the end of the line, and he had complained, and the cashier had said to him, "She has emphysema." And Clark had said, "Is that so? I have piles myself." And the manager had been summoned to say that was uncalled for. And in the coffee shop out on the highway, the advertised breakfast discount had not been allowed because it was past 11 o'clock in the morning, and Clark had argued and then dropped his take-out cup of coffee on the floor, just missing, so they said, a child in its stroller. He said the child was half a mile away, and he dropped the cup because no cuff had been provided. They said he had not asked for a cuff. He said he shouldn't have had to ask. "You flare up," said Carla. "That's what men do." She had not said anything to him about his row with Joy Tucker. Joy Tucker was the librarian from town who boarded her horse with them. The horse was a quick-tempered little chestnut mare named Lizzie. Joy Tucker, when she was in a jokey mood, called her Lizzie Borden. Yesterday she had driven out, not in a jokey mood at all, and complained about the roofs not being fixed yet, and Lizzie looking miserable, as if she might have caught a chill. There was nothing the matter with Lizzie, actually. Clark had tried, for him, to be placating, but then it was Joy Tucker who flared up and said that their place was a dump, and Lizzie deserved better, and Clark said, "Suit yourself." Joy had not, or not yet, removed Lizzie, as Carla had expected, but Clark, who had formerly made the little mare his pet, had refused to have anything more to do with her. Lizzie's feelings were hurt, in consequence. She was balky when exercised and kicked up a fuss when her hooves had to be picked out, as they did every day, lest they develop a fungus. Carla had to watch out for nips. But the worst thing, as far as Carla was concerned, was the absence of Flora, the little white goat who kept the horses company in the barn and in the fields. There had not been any sign of her for 2 days. Carla was afraid that wild dogs or coyotes had got her, or even a bear. She had dreamt of Flora last night and the night before. In the first dream, Flora had walked right up to the bed with a red apple in her mouth. But in the second dream, last night, she had run away when she saw Carla coming. Her legs seemed to be hurt, but she ran anyway. She led Carla to a barbed wire barricade of the kind that might belong on some battlefield, and then she, Flora, slipped through it, hurt leg and all, just slithered through like a white eel, and disappeared. The horses had seen Carla go across to the ring, and they had all moved up to the fence, looking bedraggled in spite of their New Zealand blankets, so that she would take notice of them on her way back. She talked quietly to them, apologizing for coming empty-handed.